All right, Mr. Ahmed here, getting ready to start up Chapter 1 for Intermediate Algebra. And Chapter 1 really involves solving equations. And we're going to start off with, in the first page, you'll see objectives for each lesson, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, etc. Those correlate with the assignments in the Big Ideas textbook that we will access online. So our goal for today, Unit 1.1, is to solve simple equations. So our essential question for today, I'm going to start out by filling this in for us, is how do I solve an equation? And our goal will be to actually solve them. An equation is a statement that two math expressions are equivalent. They're equal. That means that whatever's on the left side of the equal sign is equal to whatever is on the right side of the equal sign. Equivalent equations are equations that have the same solution, and inverse operations undo each other. Okay, so operations that are the opposite of each other, they undo. So an example of an inverse operation, the plus, the opposite of plus is to minus. In a similar manner, those would go vice versa. The opposite of minus would be to add. Another example would be multiplication and division. The opposite of multiply would be to divide, and the opposite of divide would be to times. Okay? So when we solve an equation, we're going to look at the problem, and we will see that an equation has an equal sign. So sometimes it's helpful to draw a line where the equal sign is so we can see what's on the left side and what's on the right side. In this case, x plus 2 is on the left and negative 9 is on the right. In order to solve an equation, we would like to isolate the variable. Get x by itself. Might be an a, might be a y, but we're going to get the variable by itself. Once we get the variable by itself, we will know the solution to the equation and we can plug it back in to check our work. So for the first problem, to get x by itself on the left-hand side, I need to get rid of the plus 2. So I'll use the inverse operation of plus 2, which is to subtract 2. So if I take a plus 2 minus 2, those undo each other. 2 minus 2 is 0, it is gone. Whatever I do to one side of the equation in order to keep it equivalent, I have to do it to the other side of the equation. So I would subtract 2 to the right side as well. Now keep in mind we can only combine like terms. So that's probably one thing we got to be careful with as we keep going. So x is now by itself. X is equal to negative 9 minus 2 is negative 11. So the solution to our equation is negative 11. We can check our work by plugging it back in for the variable. If x is negative 11, if I put it back in, negative 11 plus 2 is negative 9. We found the solution. Example 2. Again, I'm going to draw a line so I can see what's on the left, what's on the right. Left is just 4.5. On the right is a negative 1.3 and an a. So for me to isolate the a, I have to move the negative 1.3. The opposite of minus 1.3 is to add 1.3. If I do it to the right side, I also have to do it to the left side. So I'm going to write down what I'm doing. Plus 1.3 plus 1.3 cancels off. This is how your work should look on your assignment. Make sure you write down the equation. Show your steps, especially for these easy ones, so when we get to harder ones, you're able to do that as well. A is now by itself. 4.5 plus 1.3 is 5.8. You can use the calculator to add and subtract if you need to. So our solution is 5.8. I circle my answer. Again, I could check my work. Plug it back in. 5.8 minus 1.3. Yeah, that's 4.5. We got it right. Number 3. This time, I'm looking at the left side and I see m divided by 6. Fraction, m over 6. So that's divided by. The opposite of divide is to times, so I'm going to times both sides by 6 to isolate the m. If I times by 6 on the left, I also have to times by 6 on the right. Notice I use parentheses to show multiplication. I do that so I don't get confused if there's an x in the problem. Writing a times as an x gets a little bit tricky at times to know which one we're talking about. So our 6's will cancel, and m is equal to negative 8 times 6 is 48. We found it. Our next one says 3y equals 4. So we have to get rid of the 3. 3 next to the variable means 3 times y. The opposite of times is to divide, so I'm going to write a divide by making a fraction. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 3's cancel. Y is equal to 4 over 3. That is not going to be a whole number, so I'm going to leave it as a fraction, 4 over 3. Decimal's not really desirable, but if I wanted to turn that into a mixed number, I could also say that's equal to 1 1/3. Either answer would be acceptable for me. Next page of our notes. Make sure as you're taking notes, you're filling these in diligently, neatly, making sure you know what we got cooking. So on the U-tries, really kind of what I want you to do on the U-tries is to pause this video at this point in time, try these problems out, then turn the video back on and check and see if you got the answers correct, okay? So now would be a great time to hit pause and then do them, check your answers. All right, hopefully you just got done checking your answers and finishing these up. So the first problem, for me to solve it, I would have had to have added 0.4 to both sides. And k is equal to 3.3 would be our solution. On number 6, I needed to multiply both sides to undo division. Since it's a negative, I have to multiply both sides by -4 times by -4. The -4's cancel, and b is equal to +12. Make sure you're careful with your negative times a negative here. And the last one by yourself, we have 5 pi equals a pi. So I'm isolating a. So I'm dividing both sides by pi. This one was a little bit tricky. The pi's cancel. Pi is just a number, so I can divide by it. And the pi's cancel. A is equal to -5. All right, back at her for our 2-word problems. And for our 2-word problems, the first one said, Jasmine has a rug in her living room that has a length of 8 feet and a width that is 1.5 times larger than the length. What is the width of the rug? So the width of the rug is 1.5 times the length. W is what I'm going to use for width. This is our keywords here. The width is 1.5 times the length. So width equals 1.5 times the length. W for width, L for length. Now in the problem, it also told us that it has a length of 8 feet, L. So W is equal to 1.5 times 8. And when I multiply those out, 1.5 times 8, let's see here, 1 times 8 is 8, and then plus 4, width is equal to 12 feet. So the width is larger than the length. And the last one, for the U-try. Again, try and pause this, see if you can set it up, and see if you get it right. So hit pause and try this one out. Okay, hopefully after you just finish it, I'm going to highlight our keywords. After paying $7.50 to see a movie at the theater, Finn has $22 left in his wallet. How much did he start with? So let's see here. He has $22 left. He paid $7.50 to get in. So obviously he had more money than when he started. So the amount that Finn started with, I'm just going to say Finn's money is equal to $22 plus the $7.50 that he paid to get in, because this is what he started with. And when I add these two together, Finn has $29.50. That's what he started with. Now you could have approached setting this one up a little bit differently as well. You could have said that 22 was equal to what he had to start with, x minus the $7.50 that he paid. You could have set it up in this manner as well, because X would represent the starting amount less the $7.50 he paid to get in, and we would add $7.50 to both sides to see how much we started with, which was still $29.50. So that's it for our notes today. One thing I'd like you to do at the end of this is to fill in the summary. During class, while you're present sometimes, we'll talk about these summaries and ask for some volunteers on a summary of what we did. What was our goal? What was the essential question? Is the essential question answered? All right, so we'll talk about this in class. Have a great rest of the day.